What it do? It's the Dougherty Show, and we're back. Back with another banger. Got lots and lots of stuff to talk about today, everybody. I got my boy Danny. He's getting ready to join the show. I would like to introduce him. He is known as the Danaconda. Brother Dan, Daniel, Dan the man. We're going to bring him on right now. What it do, Brother Dan? How you been doing?
Brother Dan here in the house. Woo!
So don't forget, subscribe below, guys, and be sure to hit that like button. And also, I want to give a shout out to a couple of our sponsors. Got a new one this week. We got Mark Novakovic, as we talked about last week. We did that little skit with him. I did a little voiceover for him. If you want to check out any of his stuff, he is a hilarious human being, and he's producing more and more videos every single day. All you got to do is type his name, Mark Novakovic, into YouTube, and his profile will pop up, and you'll see all the wonderful things that he's made. And then we also have our friend Jessie down in Florida, who's also doing her art and supporting our show too as well. So we're going to support hers. If you want to check out her art, you just go to Messy_Jessie's_art, and that's on Instagram. You'll be able to see all that stuff. And lastly, our new sponsor, Smitty. He's a friend of ours. He produces music. He's a rapper. I call him an artist just because he's just really good at what he does. And you guys should check out any of his music. It's on smittyblack.com, SMITYBLACK.com. Check that out, guys. It's some wonderful stuff. So we'll get into our show today. We're going to be going over a lot of NFL news, a little bit of NCAA news, and maybe some NBA news and maybe some golf. Maybe. We'll see how it all flows out. We don't want to make the show too long today. Dan, how you been doing today, man?
I'm doing well. I got to hang out with you majority of the day. It was a pleasure. It was a pleasure, my man.
Yep. We had a couple things going on today. We did our photo shoot finally, so we're going to have some updated stuff on the actual social media platforms that we use, like YouTube and stuff like that. It's been a long time coming, and Danny hasn't been in any of the pictures, so I'm glad he's actually in there now. And we also we had a meeting with a potential producer in the future. We're still thinking about that. We'll go through that and see what we can do. And then also got to see Morbius. So we'll talk about that on another show, probably next week, maybe Monday. We will see. We shall see. But getting into it, bro, the draft is in Detroit. In Detroit, how do you feel about that, Danny, for the draft being in Detroit?
I think it's good for the city of Detroit, considering they had a lot of problems the last couple of years. And I think it's going to bring some more job opportunities and some money and a lot of different spectators. So I think it's going to help liven up the city and maybe promote growth and everything. So I think it's good for the city. I think it's good for the NFL to bring it to a city like Detroit.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm kind of grateful for the city of Detroit. I mean, they always have nothing but shit, like literally shit. Their team sucks, whether it's baseball, whether it's football. I can go on. They're just not a very good team. So just bringing something to that city, just bring some liveliness. It'll be great. And also, weed is legal there, so you can smoke out there, I believe. So. It'll be a good time. Well, I'll visit Detroit. You know, everyone's talking about how they're going to get shot and stuff. I'm like, y'all are idiots, bro.
You get shot anywhere.
Literally anywhere. So, and a couple other things that have gone on this week. We have that proposal we talked about last week for Indy and Philly actually putting it through. It actually went through. I thought it wasn't going to be able to come through, but it literally was. So I'm pretty happy about that, and that means that both teams for the NFL are going to have a shot at a possession in overtime, but it's only for the postseason. They were trying to get it for the whole entire season. The postseason is only where it's going to matter. Thoughts on that, Danny? Do you think they should have done it for longer or no?
They should have brought it to the regular season as well. Just the postseason, because what if a lot of games go into overtime in the regular season? That playoff lives matter. You know what I mean? So I'm like, maybe bring that to the post. Maybe instead of the postseason, bring it to the regular season as well.
Yeah, I was saying the same thing. I would like it for it to be in the regular season. But you know, I guess like if you start off with the playoffs, like they have a chance of seeing, how it plays out, and if it's good, they know to initiate it into maybe next year's regular season games. I thought another thing they could have done is just do it in the preseason too. Isn't that really experiment with stuff? I don't know. That's just my thoughts on it. Also, there's some more news coming out of Indy. Apparently, the Colts explored a trade for a younger quarterback, but it would have cost them 2 first-round picks. And Jim Irsay said that. Who do you think that was?
Oh, it's a no-brainer. It would have been Baker Mayfield. Absolutely.
Nah.
The guy that your team wanted. He's always going to throw the perfect interception. He always has a bad attitude, and he's good at commercials. That would have fit well with your organization.
I mean, I would like the commercials. Those commercials are pretty funny. But I actually think it was Kyler Murray. I don't think Baker Mayfield's worth 2 first-round picks.
Why? He's 5'2".
Who, Kyler Murray?
Yeah.
He's just an exceptional player, the talent level that he's at. I mean, the fact that the Arizona Cardinals wanted to extend him, and then he started having issues where he didn't want to, be with the team. He deleted everything off of social media, or pretty much archived it, and then he brought it all back. It's just, I don't know. To me, I was just like, that'd be the only guy. Like, what other player is young and worth 2 first-round picks?
I know. Mitchell Trubisky.
Worth 2 first-round picks.
Mitchell Trubisky.
You think Mitchell Trubisky was worth 2 first-round picks?
I honestly think it's going to be – I mean, obviously he was a free agent, so obviously he wouldn't be worth your first-round picks. So you got him for free, but I think it's going to be really well with the Steelers. However, let's say you had Kyle Murray, you had Baker Mayfield. Who else would you guys got? Deshaun Watson?
I mean, we asked for him, but they weren't going to trade him within a division rival. That's why they traded him to
probably with a young quarterback, probably Mac Jones.
2 first-rounders?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I just don't feel like any quarterback in the NFL right now is worth 2 first-rounders that didn't already get traded.
What do you mean? Tom Brady's always worth like at least 5 first-rounders.
Young quarterback.
Forever young. I want to be forever young.
What if that was what Jim Irsay was saying? He's like, yeah, forever young.
Tom Brady.
You motherfucker, bro. Like,
no, I'm thinking Baker Mayfield, though, honestly.
I'm still kind of upset. Like, I think that Brady was talking about us. Remember when he said, oh, you're going to get that motherfucker? I think he was talking about Phillip Rivers. I think he was talking about the Colts us choosing Phillip Rivers over Tom Brady. But moving on, we had a couple other things we're talking about. There's locker room access again, and there's a couple retirements. Malcolm Jenkins retired. He's a former OSU player, so I hold him dear to my heart. He's been around the league playing for quite a long time, and he's had a great career. And Bruce Arians retired. Todd Bowles will be the new head coach, and I think that's their 4th head black coach, 2 more than any other team in the league, is what I read recently. And I also heard some rumors that Bruce Arians, everyone was saying, like, not everyone, the internet, when I refer to this, I'm talking about Twitter and the internet, they were saying that Tom Brady knew, and I guess that is true. There were some reports that Tom Brady knew that Bruce Arians was going to retire regardless, but there's some rumors that Tom Brady didn't want him back. Tom Brady wanted him out of the building, and now he's gone. Because I guess he went to, I think it's the combine. I guess apparently coaches hate going to the combine. So like either A, he's a really good person for leaving that for Todd Bowles, or B, Tom Brady said, get the fuck out. What are your thoughts on the locker room access now? All the media members being able to join the locker room access. What are your thoughts on Malcolm Jenkins? And also, what's your thoughts on the Bruce Arians conspiracy?
Well, I'll start with Malcolm Jenkins first. Phenomenal Saint. Played well with the Eagles. Definitely a Hall of Fame safety. And he was very versatile, too. So you can kind of go at corner safety, strong safety, free safety. Could move around. He could even go in the box as a linebacker and defend the run. So he could do everything. He was a phenomenal leader. He was fun to watch play. Good career. Definitely deserves a spot in Canton. I think he'll get that next couple of years. Locker rooms being back open for the media. I like it. Fresh after game. We're going to see the players if they're pissed or not. We'll have to see if the Steelers have the TikTok crew back too. See
I
how.
always feel like it's so awkward. Like a bunch of reporters after you just got done getting dressed, or sometimes halfway dressed, they're just like asking you a bunch of questions. You're like, "What the fuck?" Like,
So my dog's hanging out, lady, and I'm like, give me a second.
but go on with what you're talking about.
But yeah, I think that's good for the media too. It's fresh after a loss or win, the excitement and everything. So I think it's good for the NFL. It's good for the fans.
Bruce Arians.
Bruce Arians. I think it was a lot of health related stuff. I think Tom Brady and him did have a rift, but it's Tom Brady, and I think every team has that at some point with head coaches and star players like that. They're gonna have rifts, but not enough that's gonna destroy the team. Because obviously, if it was that dysfunctional, they would have kept them falling. You know what I mean? So I think every team goes through that adversity. Relationships always aren't going to be perfect. I think they're fine. I just think it was more health related why he stepped down.
Do you think Todd Bowles is going to do really good this year? Like, do you think they're still going back to the playoffs and possibly the Super Bowl?
I think Tom Brady's going to run the offense in his vision now without Bruce Arians in the way. I think it's going to be more like an old Patriot offense. You're going to see a lot of no huddles. You're going to see 2 tight end sets. You're going to see like old Patriot offenses that constantly change week to week. And I think Brady's going to be the star of the show, the captain, the leader, the GM, the coach. He's going to run the whole offense. He's not going to need an offensive coordinator basically because he is the offensive coordinator. I think he's going to have all the freedom now to do it as he sees fit. And I think they're going to be a lot better than they were last year. I think the defense, it's going to be all Todd Bowles. I think they're going to be better at defense with him making all the calls. And he admitted it right when he got introduced. I messed up. We lost the game because I made a bad coaching call. Had a 0 blitz. Boom, Cooper Kupp. Got the field goal range. Boom, they win. So that takes a lot as a person to say, hey, we lost because of me. So as a head coach, I like that. So I think they're going to mesh well together.
Yeah, I mean, I hope that Bruce Arians actually did it out of the kindness. So I mean, I wish the best for everybody. So I'm just hoping that Bruce Arians like, yeah, I passed it off to Todd Bowles. I hope Todd Bowles actually does well. Because I think he was on the Jets before, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, sometimes I don't feel like the Jets is a good organization half the time, and I feel like they're terrible at drafting. He's got a really solid team around him. So
you could ask Henry.
Yeah. So I hope he. You said what?
You could ask Henry.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah,
they're not a good team.
He'll know for sure.
Yeah.
But I just hope that Todd Bowles does good this year. I don't want Tom Brady to win another one, but I just hope that they're still like in the playoff hunt and stuff. I'll probably draft Tom Brady again in fantasy. You know how I do. Yeah. Some other crazy things. I hear Pat McAfee. Cause I didn't even know this before until Pat McAfee had said it, but the Cincinnati Bengals didn't have an indoor practice facility, even though they're like $1 billion corporation or business, whatever. They have an outdoor practice facility, and all these players going there all the time, whatnot. Like to not have it, it's so cold outside. So can you imagine? I personally think the Cincinnati Bengals would do a whole lot better if they had an indoor practice facility and have to practice outdoor. So I think this is great, but they're actively looking to do this. And then some other stuff that's been happening. It's like there's some conspiracies. We'll get on that in a second. And then also the Ravens. The Ravens owner said that the Deshaun Watson deal, because it's like pretty much almost all guaranteed, complicates the quarterback market. He said that it's going to complicate his talks with Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson's already came out and said that's bullshit. And honestly, I kind of like it for the players. If they start guaranteeing more of the money, hey, that'll be a lot better, in my opinion, for the players, because I think the NFL is the only like major sport that doesn't guarantee all their money to their players. The NBA does it. The Major League Baseball does it. So I think this is good for the players. What do you think about what the Ravens owner said? And what do you think about Cincinnati Bengals getting a new indoor practice facility?
Why does it complicate the market? I mean, each quarterback's different. I mean, obviously to go by stats, wins, playoffs, appearances, and everything. What has Deshaun Watson really done? I mean, obviously Lamar Jackson, I think, has accomplished more thus far. So obviously I feel like he's going to get paid a little bit more.
And that's why he's saying that it could complicate it, because if Deshaun Watson hasn't played in a year and Lamar Jackson has, and he's done great, he's took them to the playoffs.
I think they should get paid accordingly. However, it complicates things for other roster needs. I mean, he's not a Tom Brady. Tom Brady can make nothing and turn it into something. These quarterbacks, are not the same. They're not like the Peyton Mannings. You know what I mean? When I see a lot of these quarterbacks that don't remind me of Peyton Manning or Tom Brady, like, hey, do you guys take pay cuts? I mean, obviously getting paid, they should get paid, they should get guaranteed because like they get paid the lowest of all professional sports. And like you said, not guaranteed. So if they get injured, the career could be over, spinal injury, they're fucked.
It's not even like I feel like the salary cap's not even a thing. They're always like moving stuff around. Like they could pretty much sign any player they want to sign. So I always feel like that's irrelevant. You know what I mean? And then as far as the practice facility goes, how you think about that? You think the Bengals will be a little bit better now that they got an indoor practice facility?
I think it would be good, especially for a Midwest team. We get bad weather all the time. Players will get injured on the grass.
Oh shit! Did you pause? Oh man, damn. Oh, brother Dan's back, but he's muted. You're muted. Hold on, let me. There we go. Oh, hold on. You're still muted. Yep. Here, just come back in. It's okay. We lost Danny here for a second. Technical difficulties. He thinks it's going to be good. I'll have him ask his question here in a second. But moving on, we're going to be talking about Dan Snyder and the Commanders. There's like this big, huge scandal going on with them lately. They obviously had the things in the past with the cheerleaders, them doing weird shit and being watched by like other participants. I don't know if like Dan Snyder was getting money from these men, and these men would be watching these girls while they're like undressing and doing certain shit at their like hotel and the places that they were shooting stuff at, like really inappropriate. And then they also had the toxic workplace that they've had. Like there's been so much things going on, but apparently congressional investigators have received info that the Commanders and owner Dan Snyder have kept two books to paint two different pictures of the team finances, and Congress will now expand its probe into the team's toxic workplace to include finances. In addition to that, Commanders allegedly held back ticket revenue required to be shared by the NFL. And I'm just saying right now, like that is huge. If Dan Snyder was really holding money back from the owners, and if that's actually true, that's going to be insane. It'll literally be insane. Like it's the NFL owners. I mean, they would have to kick him out. Dan Snyder would have to go bye-bye. Like where he wouldn't have to, like they're going to literally make him sell the team. And that's just my opinion on it. I mean, I don't know why you would keep someone around who's holding money, from you. You can hide money from the government, because everyone doesn't fucking like the government. Fuck the government. But when it comes to like people that you're in business with, you don't want to do that because then it's just bad business, bad taste in your mouth. Not to say they're not going to do it again, but they're probably going to do it again if they get away with it. So why have this guy in the league? Sell the fucking team and give it to somebody else. That's just my take on it. There's some crazy things that have happened. Let's see. We have the Washington Commanders came out and said this. They said there has been absolutely no withholding of ticket revenue at any time by the Commanders. Those revenues are subject to independent audits by multiple parties. Anyone who offered testimony suggesting a withholding of revenue has committed perjury, plain and simple. Washington Commanders team spokesperson. And then I think the lawyer of the person like within their facility came out and they said this. The Washington Commanders just released a statement to members of the media. In that statement, they defamed my client, Jason Friedman, who came forward at the request of the Congressional Oversight Committee and testified truthfully with evidence. Unfortunately, Mr. Friedman is unable to defend himself publicly due to contractual constraints that prevent him from speaking freely. He would be happy to recount his testimony. If Dan Snyder and the Washington Commanders allow him to do so, I will await their response. Welcome back, Danny.
Sorry for the technical difficulties. I just got called by my boss.
It happens. I let it keep going. No worries. But so we're talking about the Washington Commanders and all their stuff that's going on. I've already had a couple things pop up on the screen. There's a statement pretty much by the Commanders denying everything. And then there's a statement by, I think his name is Justin Friedman. Oops, wrong with thing. There we go. Jason Friedman. His lawyer came out and said that they were trying to defame, their client, and he's unable to defend himself because he's in a contract with them. So that'd pretty much be a breach of that. And there's some things that are going around the NFL saying that they were withholding ticket revenue. Of course, the Commanders denied that. You remember all the scandals that they had with the toxic workplace and the cheerleaders thing, so all these things are accumulative and they're all piling up now. And now you have the government breathing down your neck saying that you have two different books with two different finances painting two different pictures for your team. And it's never good when the government gets involved. So I think this might be the final dagger for the Commanders. What are your thoughts on it, bro?
It doesn't look good for an organization. I think they're going to have to be forced to sell. Let's have to go under new ownership and have to clean the whole house from top to bottom.
Yeah, you think they're going to because they also, if he's withholding ticket revenue from the team owners, don't you think the team owners would make them sell the team?
I don't know. I mean, it just depends what they find, what more they find. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I just feel like if I'm an owner and some guy's supposed to be sharing ticket revenue with me and he's not, I'd be hella pissed. Whatchamacallit? Put in your headphones? Yeah. Gotcha. So some other things moving on from the Commanders, but that's a big thing right there. I just feel like it's gonna get a lot bigger. And if they have people probing into their finances now and going deeper, and it's the actual government, that never spells any good news when the government's digging in your shit, dude. But moving on from that, those two players, or the coach and player that we mentioned earlier, wasn't the only player to retire. Malcolm Jenkins and Bruce Arians. Frank Gore retired. And that was the little picture that I had up earlier. Frank Gore is the quarterback that was taken in the 2005 draft. He has for an even 16,000 rushing yards, and he's third on the NFL's all-time rushing list, and he's beat some legends. I mean, you can see him right there. Ronnie Brown, Cedric Benson, Cadillac Williams, J.J. Arrington, Eric Shelton. All those motherfuckers combined for 1,623 yards, and he almost ran for more than them combined. He's a very durable player. I loved his time when he was in Indy. A lot of players seemed like they respected him, and I still feel like they respect him. He's signing a one-day contract with the 49ers, and he's going to retire a 49er. What's your thoughts on that, man?
You think of the Joe Montanas, the Jerry Rices, he's up there. Frank Gore had a phenomenal career, definitely Canton bound. I'm glad he retired. I think he stayed a little bit later than he should have, but that's just his love of the game and wanted to play still, even though he was getting up there in age. So I admire that, and I respect that passion. It's disappointing he didn't get to win a Super Bowl ring or anything like that, though. So hopefully he can come back as a coach and win one at least.
I blame the Colts for that too, because we had Ryan Grigson at the time, and when he was on our team, like we were poised, to go to the Super Bowl, but he just kept signing shit or offensive linemen, so he didn't get to run very well, and Andrew Luck was always running for his life. So I blame the Colts for wasting 2 to 3 years of his life, when he could have gone somewhere else and actually got a chance to win. So it kind of sucks that he never got a ring, man. Some other crazy things going on in the NFL. Dennis Allen, who's the head coach of the Saints, he said that Taysom Hill will be focusing on playing tight end. They also signed Andy Dalton to a 1-year deal. He's going to be the backup, I'm assuming, because Jameis Winston's the starter. What are your thoughts on that?
Wouldn't be surprised if Andy Dalton ends up starting for the Saints.
You think he's going to start over Jameis Winston?
For a little bit, because I don't think he's going to be fully healthy right away after coming back from that injury. Who knows if he'll play the same under a new coach? You know what I mean?
True.
So I got to give the ladder to Andy Dalton. I think they're both going to play a lot in this year for the Saints. So I think it's going to be a quarterback committee kind of thing.
And then what about Taysom Hill being tight end? Do you think that suits him better? Because he was that little gadget player back then when he was that little tight end. He's
better suited in that role than quarterback. You can move him around a little bit. You can put him in the slot. You can move him as a tight end. You can put him as a receiver. In some pistol formations, you could have both him and Winston or Andy Dalton on the field and have him confuse the defense and think of who's going to be the quarterback. So, I think it's better as a gadget player than every down quarterback.
Sweet. Rams, they signed Bobby Wagner, and the Texans have signed Marlon Mack. Thoughts on those two guys?
Okay. Marlon Mack, you don't know what you're gonna get with him with the Texans. Uh, Injury prone. He was phenomenal with the Colts. I feel like you guys should have kept him. Had a 1-2 punch with him and Jonathan Taylor. That's just me personally. But hopefully he does well. I liked him. Just injury prone. Uh,
Bobby Wagner.
yeah. I'm sorry. It just bothers me thinking about what they signed him for. I mean, he's kind of old at this point. So I'm like, especially at the middle linebacker position, you get to take a lot of punishment. So I think they gave him a lot of guaranteed money, and they signed a big contract that I didn't think was really deserving. I mean, he deserves it because he's that great of a player, but he's old now. But it'll be a tackling machine for them at least.
I just think that I mean they just loaded up. Like I feel like I don't know how they are able to sign all these players. That's why I said the salary cap ain't fucking shit because they always just keep signing players that are either almost out of their prime or they're at the end of their prime. I think Bobby Wagner he's got a lot left in the tank, and he really doesn't have to do much on that team because that team's already so loaded, and he's going to have some studs up front, get after the quarterback and stuff like that. It's just going to wreak havoc, and he might be able to, play a little bit better. It's kind of like that Legion of Boom type thing, but it's over at the Texans now, and they just have a really stacked roster. Marlon Mack, we already have Nyheim Hines, and he's such a really good gadget player, and he's always healthy, man. Knock on wood, but he's been a really good player for us. I feel like he's our 1-2 punch for Jonathan Taylor, and like you said, Marlon Mack's been injured, and injury prone, so. If he can return to form and get back to that 1,000 yards he ran not too long ago, I think he'd really help out the Texans. I think he's definitely an upgrade over, David Johnson and whoever else they had. But, I guess we'll see and go from there. How do you feel about Devontae Parker going to the Pats? They traded for him.
I like it. It's more depth. I mean, he's been injury prone with the Dolphins, but when he's on the field, he can play good. I mean, I wouldn't say he's the number one receiver. I mean, obviously, they gave up some draft capital to get a number one receiver, thinking he could be. I mean, Bourne, you got Aguilar, and then you got some other guys in the Patriots. I mean, they're not really number ones, but I don't know. It makes sense what they did. I mean, gotta find that number one receiver for homeboy. I like the move if he's healthy. I still think they need to draft another receiver or two.
It's still a loaded wide receiver draft. So, I mean, I feel like you guys might draft one for sure. Devontae Parker, I like him, but like you said, he does get injured an awful lot. So, like, if he can stay healthy, I feel like it's a really, really good thing for the Patriots. Maybe if this is like the part where he's like, all right, I'm going to tough it out. I'm going to play a whole full season healthy, and he's got Mac Jones throwing to him. He doesn't have to do much. But he's also the number one receiver, and we've seen what happens when he was the number one receiver on the Dolphins. Granted, the quarterback position that was thrown to him wasn't all that great, but now he's got Bill Belichick. Maybe Bill Belichick helps him out, but to be honest, I've already seen the wide receivers you guys have been getting for the last, several years, ever since Randy Moss left. I just don't feel like there's been a good one besides Julian Edelman, so.
And Gronk.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't really consider him a wide receiver. I mean, he's a tight end, but because he can still block better than most wide receivers, and he, I don't know. Some other stuff. I know there's a lot of people out there that are not in on or sold on Colin Kaepernick, but he's actually just did a thing at Michigan where he was playing during the halftime, and putting on like a show for the scouts. I forgot what it was called, but it was just like this little exhibition thing that they did. He did a couple throws just to show these scouts that were at that game what he's got. He also said that he's willing to accept a backup role. I mean, I just want to see him in the NFL again. I don't care what role he's in. Just give him a chance to prove himself. I feel like that'd be a really good story for him. I know we talked about him last week, but now he's saying that he's going to accept a backup role. What's your thoughts on that? Do you think that there's any team in the NFL right now that needs a quarterback of his caliber as a backup role?
Indianapolis Colts.
I could see. I would take Colin Kaepernick as a backup role.
The Jets always need quarterbacks, so so that would be a good fit. Jaguars.
Henry would be like, "Fuck no." Jaguars. Yeah, I mean, I could see them doing that, but I don't know. They got Trevor Lawrence and whatnot. I don't know what their new head coach is going to do.
Yeah, I mean
But
the
go ahead.
Browns, just in case Deshaun Watson get in trouble again for like massage parlors, Know what I mean? Now that he has all this guaranteed money, he might open his own self one. Deshaun Watson's
Yeah,
massage
you never know.
parlor. We'll call it Field of Dreams.
The Field of Dreams. There's actually a baseball stadium. I think that's called the Field of Dreams.
Yes, there is.
Some other news. That's pretty much it for the NFL news this week. We'll talk about what was I going to say? The tight end landscape next week. We're going to talk about who we think is the greatest tight end of all time. Or we're going to talk about Gronk possibly not wanting to return to football, but that's going to be next week. We're going to move on to the NCAA right now. I don't know if you're familiar with these guys, but Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson are wide receivers on OSU. They did exceptional this year. They had CJ Stroud thrown to them. And I think they're projected to go like middle rounds of these drafts. But I've been hearing a lot of rumors lately that they might go earlier than that. Like they might go within the top 10. You think there's anyone in the top 10 who's going to take a wide receiver of their caliber?
I'm trying to think of wide receiver heavy teams, and I'm trying to think of the ones that don't have wide receiver heavy teams.
Jaguars up there again, and they don't really have any good wide receivers.
No, Indianapolis is really on a struggle bus besides Pittman. Falcons are a total rebuild. Lions, Packers don't have a good wide receiver core either. They pretty much got rid of everybody.
That's true.
So they could use some players. Obviously, the Bears. Jets. I mean, but the Jets need everything. Buccaneers.
You guys they're already loaded. They already have Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and I think they just signed someone else, Russell Gage. Yeah, I think they're set with wide receivers. But hey, you never know. They could draft another stud.
Yeah, why not? What if one of those what happened last year? Chris Godwin gets injured. Antonio Brown loads a load, or he loses his fucking basket, and look, no wide receivers.
True. Yeah, it's true. If I had to pick a team that they would go to, I think it would be the Bears is one, and I think they're in the top 10. The Jaguars is one because they already have a quarterback. They just need to get weapons for him to throw to. But I also think that they might go with an offensive lineman because I guess that's pretty good this year too as well, at least in the top in the first round. And there was a third one I was thinking of. Who didn't make it? The Detroit Lions, I think, is another one.
Not bad picks.
They just got rid of Kenny Galladay. They have Armand St. Brown on their team. He did exceptional last year. Why not give him another wide receiver like Garrett Wilson or Chris Olave to take the attention away from him and give Jared Goff another person to throw to? So I kind of like and Justin Fields, man. The reason why I think that the Bears might get him is because of Justin Fields. He was from OSU, and I think he threw to both those players, Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson. So he's already going to have that rapport. That's why I think that the Bears might get one of those wide receivers, and they're known for it. I mean, remember the Kevin White shit, dude? Like, come on. Like, we can keep going, and they keep trying to get other wide receivers, but they never got the quarterback position down. I think they might do it, but that's just my opinion. We'll see how it plays out. Draft is later this month. So moving on to the next topic is Major League Baseball. We usually don't hit this much, but we're going to hit it up now. And they have like so many different things that are going on right now. Apparently, the Major League Baseball is going to mic up umps. The umps, when they go in to do games for like replay review, they're going to announce it to the park. And they're going to talk to all the fans out there. I just hope they don't go into depth and explain it because some of these people aren't going to understand that. You know what I mean?
No.
What are your thoughts on the MLB micing up the umps?
I don't like it. Baseball is one of the oldest sports out there, so like kind of keep things like historic. I mean, making too many different changes with the sport now, which is not like America's pastime anymore. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like keep it like original. I mean, I understand putting like nets up so people will get hit in the head with baseballs and shit. But like when you start doing the whole replays, you take the fun out of the side of human error and batters and pitchers and catchers arguing with each other. You just take the whole suspense out of the game. Like, is it a home run or not? You take the human error out of it and leave it to a computer. Just keep the game like it was meant to be played.
Oh, then you're gonna hate what I'm about to say because they even changed it up even more. You know what they did? They expanded the playoffs from 10 teams to 12 teams now, which means 40% of Major League Baseball can make the playoffs now. What are your thoughts on that? That means
Ooh.
side.
Uh, I don't think that's no. I mean, I don't think it's bad because when you expand something like that, you make it more enjoyable to watch. You expand the playoffs. Obviously, you're gonna get viewers and get more games to go to, and your team another potential chance to make the playoffs. I mean, it's good for baseball. It's more money in the pocket, and it's gonna draw attention to the fan bases. So I I see the negatives, but I see the positives in that too. So,
I feel.
but I'm
Yeah,
leaning more positive.
more positive, yeah. So like the expanded playoffs, I like it for the simple fact that it's going to change a lot of teams' perspective. Like there's so many more changes I'm going to talk to you about. You're gonna be like, whoa, what the fuck? Like baseball's changing. Going from 12 teams now, or going to 12 teams, I think is good because the Cubs last year, they were on the brink right before the All-Star break, and they decided to sell out. Imagine if they were one of those 6 teams to make it now. Now that changes. Do they sell everybody now? Do they keep everybody? I'm pissed that Rizzo's not on the team anymore. Javi Baez isn't on the team anymore. Chris Bryant's not on the team anymore. And Chris Bryant's my favorite player. You know, it just kind of sucks. But I feel like it's going to change the landscape a little bit. A lot of these teams might do something a little bit more to try to be that 6th team that makes it. And then the other 60% of the teams are going to have to figure what else they can out. Some other changes that they've made is that rosters, I spelled it wrong, but rosters are expanding from 26 to 28 players, but this is only going until May 1st. This is to give clubs a chance because, obviously we had the lockout going on. It's going to give them the chance to, warm up these starting pitchers' arms, so they're not being rushed back and having to, start so quickly. They can have these guys spaced out a little bit and give their arms a little bit of rest and able to build up to a certain amount of innings in play. Another thing that they did was they added universal designated hitter. It's permanent now. I think they had it back in 2020. I think they took it away in 2021. It's back now permanently. There's going to be a designated hitter in both leagues now, which is great. Which also brings me to my next thing is that there is a new rule. It's called the Shohei Ohtani rule, I think is what it's called. And what it does is it limits so like whenever a pitcher goes into a game and they get to a certain point, that pitcher has to once they get taken out of the game, they can no longer bat anymore. Well, now it's changed now. Now, if Shohei Ohtani wants to go into the game, even if he gets taken out, he can still stay in the game as a batter, which is great because last year he got taken out and that dude was killing it. He was MVP of the league going up all the way until the end and whatnot. Can you just imagine how much better he would have did if he didn't get taken out early? That's some crazy things. There's also limits on player options now. It means that only a player can be optioned to the AAA 5 times max in a season. We call this the Chris Bryant rule. They have what's called a prospect promotion incentive. What that means is players that are on the team, like younger players, like rookies and stuff like that. If they on the team, they were in Rookie of the Year or MVP or anything of that type of stuff. The team that has that player gets an incentive. I think they get like a conditional draft pick or something like that, or an international draft pick. I think it's one of the two, but they get that for themselves. So it's like it's a way to like get the teams to keep rookies on their team instead of sending them down to the AAA. And also they can't do it, more than 5 times. There was a couple players that went 12 times last year. So, what are your thoughts on that, Danny, on the Shohei Ohtani rule?
Makes it a lot more interesting. Players now can come back in the game, especially star players. That changes lineups, that changes strategy, that changes everything. So if you have your stud hitter coming back after you take him out, it makes the game more interesting. Instead of having like a pinch hitter. Now that might ruin a lot for a lot of players that are not that good because they might not get a lot more playing time. That's the only drawback, I think, from that at least.
True. Also, there's a couple other things they've changed. They're putting humidors for all baseballs now. Some baseballs, if they have too much humidity, it allows offense to be a little better. You can hit them farther. So they're going to keep them all the same temperature and in these humidors. So I feel like that's better for the game. It's not going to be like a disadvantage for certain ballparks and certain players at certain places. They're also cracking down on the pitching substances. Last year they cracked down on that. They're doing it even more now. What are your thoughts on them cracking down? Because last year they did it really tough. This year they're going even harder.
I think it's good. I mean, supplements.
No,
The problem with
the substances.
Oh, you said that. I thought you said supplements. Well, substances. Oh, I think it's good for baseball because anything that gives the pitcher an edge over the batter, it's like the batter taking steroids. It's the equivalent of that. So you're taking that cheating aspect out of the game and making it more fair and more neutral, which I think is great.
You Patriots fans, usually you guys are liking that stuff. You're like, oh yeah, cheat.
Only if it's the Boston Red Sox, I'm allowing it.
Yeah. Some last things I want to mention. Players can do customized gloves now, and there's called helmet advertising, where when you're in the game and you're going to see these helmets, they're going to have decals on them to promote other companies. I want to know your thoughts on that because I know there's a lot of tradition out there for like Boston Red Sox fans who, and New York Yankees fans, people that have those same traditional outfits for the longest time. And now they're going to have their helmets changed. What are your thoughts on that stuff and the customized gloves?
I don't mind it, even though if it's like old school stuff and you want to change it a little bit. If you want to do it, do it. I mean, something new, something fresh.
And thoughts on the Cleveland Guardians? They changed their name now. They're not the Indians anymore. I don't know if anyone listens to like the thing, but it's Guardians, Indians, kind of like the same,
Yeah. I mean, everybody's just too sensitive nowadays. Like, who cares? It's a sports team. Cleveland Indians. You know what? I'm not wearing black socks anymore. I'm offended by the Chicago White Sox. Black, white. I'm offended. They should change their name.
Yeah.
It's stuff like that. I mean, it's silly.
It's going everywhere. It started in the NFL, and I think MLB followed suit.
Yeah, it's stupid.
And then next thing we talk about in Major League Baseball, and this is what I thought is going to change the landscape. They have a new draft lottery, just like the NBA, where and this is not starting for 2022. This is going to start in 2023, but all 18 non-playoff teams will have a chance to pick first overall. What is your thoughts on that?
I don't know. I mean, it changes the whole premise of drafting at that point, doesn't it? I mean,
yeah. You can't. So also, you can't get the same first round pick more than 2 years in a row now for certain clubs. Like I think it's if you're doing like a revenue sharing type thing, and you can't do it more than 1 year in a row. So it's like the days of the Detroit, Tigers just sucking every fucking year and getting the draft early every year. They're changing that. You can't do that no more. So I think they're trying to do it to get rid of tanking. And I'm just curious to see how it plays out. It seems like it looks okay in the NBA, but the NBA, they still fucking tank. The Pacers did it last year, But all these teams have these percentages now of getting the first overall pick.
Yeah, I mean, that's good. I mean, that's good if you think about it, because no matter if you have a first round pick or not, you can find studs in later rounds of the draft. You're making it from super teams, people from tanking. You're switching the whole atmosphere up and making it a lot harder to draft, but you're making it more like, let's be real. No, I mean, fans are starting to get annoyed watching the same stuff over and over. We're always like, oh, it changed. It's not fun to watch. They got to start switching things back up so it's fun to watch again.
I agree. And I also feel like having your team just be shit every year, sometimes you lose a lot of fans that way. Like, we're just going to suck again this year. So I feel like it'll be different. I feel like this whole year for baseball is going to be different.
I agree.
Moving on from Major League Baseball, we got Tiger Woods. He is back. And I don't know if you guys remember, but they were saying that he had he had the possibility, like he was near to where he had to amputate his leg. He's coming back from back surgery. He had that car accident, and like he said, like he was about to amputate his leg, and he's gone through hella rehab. He just had those life issues where, you know, sponsors were dropping to him, and, you know, he cheated on his wife and all this other type of stuff. You know, all these things are going at him, but this dude's back. And like it just reminds me of Michael Jordan and like Tom Brady and Peyton Manning and all the super good athletes, like the elite athletes. Like they just do whatever it takes to do it, you know. And not only that, like they don't give up. Like, yeah, they're fucking injured. They got all these things weighing in on them, but he's just still going and going and going. I hope he makes the cut, and I hope he wins the whole damn thing. What are your thoughts on Tiger Woods coming back?
I don't think I'll ever win a Masters again. For him to play professional golf again, it's an accomplishment in itself. And that's not a knock on him. He's one of the best golfers in all of generations, you know, of our generation. So, I mean, they even made the Tiger Wood. They had to expand things just because he was hitting so far, you know what I mean? So I'm like, yeah, I mean, for him to come back from that injury, he wasn't even supposed to walk again. So I'm like, that's pretty impressive in itself. So I hope he plays again. Do I think he's gonna ever win one again? Probably not. But just to play, it's an accomplishment in itself, and no one's can take that away from you.
Yeah, I agree, man. Like whenever someone, I feel like it just clicks in their head. Like they always got to make something like the reason why they're doing so good. You know, like MJ was like, okay, this guy talked shit to me one time in one game, so I embarrassed him on the next game. You know, Tiger Woods is like, oh, this motherfucker, he just said that I couldn't come back. He says that I will never be able to play golf again. Well, bitch, you was wrong because I'm back. I just love it. I always liked him growing up, and I was always hoping that he'd be the GOAT. Obviously, I think that one guy, I forgot his name. I mean, he's one of the most extraordinary golfers of all time. Is above him, and I think he's trying to beat him. I think Tiger literally wants to be the best. That's what keeps him going. He wants to prove doubters wrong, and I love that about him. But that's all I got for golf. But I do hope that he comes back. The last thing we're going to get into is Ben Simmons. He's not playing this year. He's going to be out for the playoffs, which is going to change the thing for the Brooklyn Nets. I know, Danny, you don't really know much about this stuff, but last year, Ben Simmons was on the Philadelphia 76ers, and he decided that he wasn't going to play for them anymore because the previous year when he was in the playoffs, he did terrible in them. He did terrible in the playoffs. He was passing up shots. So, you know, his coach stopped believing in him, and some of the other players, I'm assuming there did too. And he decided he wasn't going to play anymore or show up for practice. And because he didn't show up for all these things, the 76ers said, we're not going to pay you. So he filed agreements against them, and he's trying to get that money from them. But question for you, in the NBA playoffs, I don't know if you follow it. Do you have like a set team that you think is going to win it all?
Like
you said what?
I go with my Celtics.
You're gonna go with the Celtics? You think the Celtics are gonna win it all?
Yeah, they have good. They play good defense.
They do, and Jason Tatum has been a fucking beast lately, dude. And yeah, I can see it, man. I think right now because the Bulls just clinch the playoffs. I think we go against the Boston Celtics, but it's just the Bulls are 1-13 against NBA playoff teams right now. So like I just think we're gonna go to the playoffs and we're gonna get destroyed. We might win like one game. It's gonna fucking suck though. But I'm glad the Bulls are back in it, and I can't wait to watch it. I think it starts like either next week or the week after. So I'm looking forward to actually watching some NBA playoffs. And I'm hoping the Bulls can actually go a little bit farther than what they have in the past. Usually they go one and done. They haven't really done good since Derrick Rose, and I miss those days. So give me something. We got DeMar DeRozan. I just got myself a Zach LaVine jersey. Let's fucking go, dude.
Let's get after it.
But we're about to get off, guys. We appreciate you guys all listening. Don't forget to subscribe below and be sure to hit that like button. Like I said, we have our sponsors, SmittyBlack.com. Check them out. Make sure you check out Mark Novakovic on his YouTube and Messy Jessie's Arts on her Instagram. Again, subscribe below. Hit that like button, guys. If you guys have any input that you guys want to add or anything that you want to say, just let us know. Anything you want to add, Danny, before we head out?
Nope, I appreciate you having me on the show today.
Yep, no problem, man. Later.